Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. But before I proceed, Mr. Speaker, my speech, allow me to share a very sad news, Mr. Speaker. That of the passing of this afternoon of DMW Secretary Toots Hople, a true champion on the rights and welfare of our migrant workers. I offer this speech as a tribute to her work in and the legacy of championing the cause of our migrant workers. Mr. Speaker, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a warm greeting to all of you this afternoon. Isang pagpupugay po sa lahat ng ating mga kababayan, sa loob man o labas ng Pilipinas. Today, I rise before this august chamber, driven by a profound sense of duty and empathy, to shed light on a matter of utmost importance, the crafting of a Magna Carta for our Filipino migrant workers. This proposed legislation seeks to empower our migrant workers, safeguard their rights, and elevate their contributions to the forefront of our nation's consciousness. Mr. Speaker, the protection and promotion of the rights and welfare of our Filipino migrant workers is one of the main advocacies of Kabayan Party List, which I represent in this august chamber. The name Kabayan was specifically adopted by my party list as a tribute to our Filipino migrant workers in recognition of their distinct role and contribution to our society, noting that Kabayan is a term of endearment to our fellow Filipinos whenever and wherever we are abroad. And now, as the chairperson of the House of Representatives Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs, I have had the distinct privilege of delving deeply into the intricacies of the lives and the profound challenges that our migrant workers face on foreign shores. This role has afforded me not only a keen understanding, but also a profound empathy for their aspirations, struggles, and the daily realities they confront. From this unique perspective, for which I greatly thank our Speaker, Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez, for this opportunity to chair the Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs, I stand before you not merely as an advocate, representative, or a chairperson, but as a messenger bearing your hopes, dreams, and pressing needs. Mr. Speaker, Filipino migrant workers, often separated from their families and communities, represent the skills and commitment of our country in the global arena. Their sacrifices transcend borders, enriching nations and making an impact in the lives of peoples and communities. Unfortunately, their stories of personal sacrifice to achieve a better life for their families are sometimes marked by suffering. We are very well aware of what these are. Filipino migrant workers having fallen victim to illegal recruitment, enslaved by cruel employers, bilked of their savings by scammers, languishing in debtors' prisons or in death row, rescued and in temporary shelters of Philippine Post awaiting repatriation, or having returned home mentally traumatized or worse, in coffins. Some of you might say, there are mechanisms already in place that govern our overseas employment processes and to precisely address these misfortunes. Aren't these sufficient or responsive enough? And I say, they will never be enough. For as long as these unfortunate circumstances fester, we need to do more. We need to work more. Mr. Speaker, a major work that this representation humbly offers to its esteemed colleagues for support is the enactment of a Magna Carta of Filipino migrant workers. There are three important facets to this proposed legislation that bear emphasis. First, this proposed measure shall provide a fundamental encompassing framework that focuses on the state's promotion, protection, and fulfillment of the rights of Filipino migrant workers. By codifying their rights, we lay down clear state duties and obligations along the same rights, fully aware of a marginalized sector in need of the state's intervention and compassionate shepherding. We shall do so also as a tribute to Filipino migrant workers everywhere in the world, even as we shall construct a haven of protection where the rights of our migrant workers are constantly upheld and their well-being uncompromisingly shielded. Second, This Magna Carta shall educate migrant workers of the rights that they can readily claim, thereby empowering them with information and awareness. And being empowered as claim holders of their rights, our migrant workers shall better see themselves in higher dignity and with the utmost regard they so rightfully deserve. We shall take pride in this proposed Magna Carta as a law that ticks all the boxes on human rights principles. On the other hand, while the proposed law seeks to inform Filipino migrant workers of their shields of rights, it shall also provide a sword of responsibilities toward your families, fellow men, and our beloved nation. This is a vital transformation, a shift from passive recipients of the government's protection into active representatives of the positive impact every Filipino can make worldwide. By clarifying your roles and obligations, and not only your rights, we empower our Filipino migrant workers to become proactive contributors to the well-being of their families, communities, and our country. Third, this proposed law shall go beyond a mere litany of rights or a comprehensive acknowledgement of obligations, responsibilities, and entitlements. It shall define the intertwined relationship and cooperation between and among all stakeholders in the industry. The Magna Carta shall serve as the Bible of all the stakeholders, a sacred code, and a solemn tripartite agreement among migrant workers, government, and employers, be they recruitment or manning agencies or direct employers. We shall not tire in reminding government agencies concerned with your duties and responsibilities that will mean enhanced service efficiency and effectiveness. We shall work for better strategic delineation to prevent redundancy and inefficiency, while holding all agencies concerned accountable in the effective performance of your work and the fulfillment of your mandates. Equally vital is the clarification of the role of employers, whether recruitment agencies or direct employers. We shall help them recognize that they are not merely managing livelihoods, but are entrusted with the lives and futures of individuals and families. Indeed, these roles are essential in ensuring harmony in protecting the life and lifeblood of our migrant workers. To borrow an analogy from the seafaring industry, just as a ship's voyage depends on the coordinated effort of its crew, the success of overseas employment hinges on mutual understanding and cooperation. This Magna Carta shall act as the compass that will chart this complicated web of interactions, ensuring that all stakeholders are aware of their role and their accountabilities. Let the fabric of our nation be enriched by the triumphs of our migrant workers, but these triumphs will only be assured if it's thread in the complex industry of overseas employment, the Filipino migrant workers, the government, and the employers informs the crafting of a cohesive and effective policy. Let us be stewards of this shared endeavor, cultivating understanding, empathy, and cooperation to ensure the flourishing of each thread and the prosperity of the entire industry. The success of this tripartite relationship ensures the success of the Magna Carta, and in turn, the prosperity of all Filipino migrant workers, their families, and the country. Finally, that there shall be more to this proposed piece of legislation. For as we envision this Magna Carta to fortify our current interventions and institutionalized mechanisms for the greater protection of our Filipino migrant workers, in time, it will be a best practice that other major migrant worker sending states may consider for their own people. By this, we affirm our mission as a global champion for the promotion, protection, and fulfillment of the rights of migrant workers everywhere. Mr. Speaker, for the reasons conveyed to this august body, this representation is filing today this proposed legislative measure, crafting a Magna Carta of Filipino migrant workers. I implore the collective wisdom of this honorable chamber. Let us arise above our differences and unite for our national cause, which is the welfare of Filipino migrant workers. By supporting the adoption of this Magna Carta, we send a resounding message that we recognize and honor their sacrifices and that we stand by them in their journey toward a better life. Mr. Speaker and esteemed colleagues, may we stand united in this noble endeavor. Together, let us champion the cause of our Filipino migrant workers. Thank you very much. Mabuhay ang ating mga kabayan, mabuhay tayong mga Pilipino. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker.